Hi. Thank you so much for showing up again. Welcome to part three of our, kind of like mini series, our taste tester, our season 1.5, our season point 5 even, of which you weren't here, our terrible, horrible, no good, very bad road trip to save reality. Um, I'm Arnica, and don't mind me, I'm exhausted. It's been a hell of a weekend. I really hope you stopped by Extra Life this past weekend, caught me on SCP. We raised a good amount of money for Children's Miracle Network. Um, and but I'm here now, finishing up my endless week before I go get some surgery tomorrow. It'll be great. I'll be able to shut up for 24 straight hours. No one knows how happy that makes me. So, on that note, let's go ahead and ask our characters, our players, a weird question. What would be something that would make your character just be real quiet? Like, what would be the weirdest thing someone could say that you could say nothing to? You just like, I got nothing. What makes your character shut up? Let's start with, you know what? We missed you last week, Leland. Let's start with Leland.
Um, cool. For some reason thought I was gonna go last. I don't know why. I'm just kidding. I'm okay. Okay. So the Hi everyone. I'm Leland slash Leopold the Just. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Leopold the Just. Today I'm playing Rhett Deville. He/him pronouns. I use he/him pronouns. Boom, 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 bam, bam, bam. And the answer to the question is shit. This is hard. Why is this so hard for me? I'm normally quick on the wit about things like this. Okay, I got it. Um, so could you just tell me the question one more time just to make sure I've got the right answer? Sorry, you muted. Arnica, you're muted.
The DM is muted.
Did You're muted. It's not my fault. There were paper bags and people were asking about mashed potatoes. So
Okay.
yeah, no, you know what? Here's the thing. I also forgot the question. It was a terrible question. I made it up on the fly. It was awful. New question. What's your character's favorite dinosaur?
My character's favorite dinosaur. Oh, okay. Pachycephalosaurus. With
I
the
love
one
that.
with the cool helmet for a head. Anyway. All right.
I love that.
Cool. I know that one. Boom. That's my favorite one too.
There we go. Let's go ahead and pop down and say hi to Melody. Hey Melody, how you been?
Good. I'm Rosie playing Melody Her's book today. She, her pronouns for both the character and myself. And Melody's favorite dinosaur. It'd be Parasaurolophus. Just they're really cool looking. They got that neat like head shape. There's really good fossils of them. She probably saw one in a book way back when, just thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Nice. All right. And let's go with Knox.
Hey y'all, my name is Knox, and I'm going to be Talia Ramirez, pronouns she, her for me and the character. And I think Talia's favorite dinosaur is probably Brontosaurus because she watched Land Before the Time as a kid. And everyone loves Littlefoot, and everybody, and I do mean everybody, wanted to eat a tree star. So
That's a controversial dinosaur. You know they
I was about to say,
yeah
oh,
that didn't exist. That
do
didn't
we tell
exist
her
for the
that the
longest time.
Brontosaurus
But they brought it back. They brought it
that
back. It's
people
like
argue about whether
that's what
about
I read
the
recently that they brought it back. So you know who knows.
Talia don't care. She's like, I
Talia says
wanted to
that's
be friends
nice.
with Littlefoot. She's like, I watched the entire Land Before Time series, and this totally isn't because I also watched the entire Land Before Time series, but everyone wanted to eat a damn tree star. The crunch makes my autistic brain go happy.
I don't like lettuce. That's the food that my food eats. I mean, I am technically an omnivore in that I have flat molar teeth,
So
but like
same.
A
Uh, uh,
begrudging omnivore.
Lettuce is a
Deep
water
fried.
vegetable. I don't eat water vegetables. I don't know how to explain it. We don't have time for me to get into that, but I don't eat lettuce. But the tree stars look so good.
Now that's the food my food eats. That said, I respect your tree star vegetable wanting. Make it into a wrap. It'll be great. All right, and last but definitely not least, let's pop in and say hi to Shears. Hi, Shears.
Hello, everyone. Merry time zone. My name is Bloodthread Shears. My pronouns are they, them, and I go by Shears for short because I know my name is long. Melanie's favorite dinosaur would be a pterodactyl. She grew up watching Power Rangers, the OG one, and she loved that show. I know it's a pterosaur, but I'm going to call it a pterodactyl. Screw you.
I love that there is a hard line. Like you can see it on our faces. There's a hard line between I love pop culture media dinosaurs and I have five encyclopedias. Like the rest of y'all obviously also have at least five encyclopedias. You can tell by looking at all of us that we have more than 20 encyclopedias when you add all of them together on the screen. But y'all do not have at least five on dinosaurs. And I can tell real quick right now that me, right, Rosie, between the three of us, there's at least 16 books on paleontology in our house.
I was very much a dinosaur kid.
If you ever talk to me about fashion history, I will fight. Just
There
saying.
we go. You know what? You say that now. I'm just saying, call me when they just DM me when they start the streams for Nigerian Fashion Week, and me and you will just sit there and we'll kiki all night.
Yes, we need to
Yes.
stream this.
Okay. 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 We can't. You act like you will not lose me this whole stream. I'll be like, fuck the whole end of the show, and we'll talk about Nigerian Fashion Week. Anyway, let's not do that. Let's do our show. Let's do our show. Let's do our show. So, the last time we saw everybody else, you may notice that we are down a player tonight. Or are we? Or maybe it's just because somebody got huffy and wandered out all by themselves in a strange, unfamiliar land, and a maybe shifty but maybe nervous looking little deer person was desperately trying to get them to go, come here, come here. And they didn't. And that's the last time we saw Orchid. There's a reason for that. But for that, let's go. But let's not worry about that. I'm sure they're perfectly fine. Just don't. You know what? They're fine. It's cool. Don't at
Hmm.
all worry about Duchess. Love it. Let's check in with Rhett. So, that's my gift. Um, so Rhett, here's the thing: is that you were quiet as everyone was meeting Milo, as everyone was handed out their cars, um, and your letters turned into these very iconic tokens, these little keychains that let you start up your cars. Because you weren't here, why don't you go ahead and tell the audience what kind of car Rhett? Oh, that's right, you did tell them, but remind them because it's been
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Okay, sorry, I was in full screen. I need to get off of that. That was weird. I couldn't see anything else. Okay. My car is a luxury edition white um 4-door um Lexus
right.
is what I imagined it was. Sedan.
So you got the family car, but yours is the dad's midlife crisis version of it.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
the
got all
four
the, like
door.
the fancy. Yeah, it's got all the bells, the whistles, and everything in between.
Okay. So when Milo reached out to you, he leaned down and he whispered something into your ear.
Ooh,
You
sexy.
whispered something back to him, and he handed you the token, which became your keychain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you're driving with all of your friends, you guys have fallen into formation through a very long, dark tunnel. You guys are going ridiculously fast. Everyone is doing 80, and yet there's nothing but darkness in front and behind you. Okay, there's just enough light from your high beams that you guys can just see the cars around you. You can catch the edges of pylons whipping past. It's the only way you know the speed you're going is what it says on the odometer.
Hmm.
And for just a second, like it doesn't take you long. It's the slightest drift in concentration. But as that happens, the road splits. Everyone else, you watch them. You have not turned your wheel. You are still moving exactly the same way you were before. It's very much as if the road peels away with you on top of it, and everyone else goes zoom, 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 and you go boom,
Oof.
and your car disappears into a tunnel down a left hand fork that was not there a moment ago. And the moment you cross into that smaller, darker area, everything else behind you vanishes. You are alone in this area.
For a second, Rhett thought he was playing Need for Speed, and that this was one of those little shortcuts that you can take, but obviously not. um, yeah, he's gonna immediately get nervous as hell and start sweating bullets. He's he's already kind of out of his element, I would imagine. So
Okay. Now, as you are as you are anxiously driving, if you reach over, the it's silent, it's dark, and the quiet is beginning to have an ominous kind of ringing whisper to it. It is pressing against you. It's like you can hear it uh, brushing against the glass as you speed past, as if the
oof,
darkness is just not even trying seriously to grab you, but kind of playing with you. If it has nails, it's running them across the roof of your car.
disgusting. I love it.
Uh, what do you want to do?
I'm going to. There's no. Is there a place for me to turn around?
There is not. It is a straight shot. You can't
Mhm.
see anything in front of you. You can't see anything behind you.
Okay, I'm gonna gun it then, and just try and use the fact that my car. Just try and use my super fast car to run away from my problems. And maybe find an exit soon.
All right. So as you put your foot down and you're redlining it. You absolutely, the roar of the engine for just a moment pushes back that hissing, laughing, whispering darkness. It echoes for just a second. Your headlights push forward enough that you can see the edges of the walls around you, and they're not as close as they felt. And you find your mind is, I really wish you were more, just concentrated on what was happening in the moment, Rhett. But instead, you really can't stop dwelling on what happened back at the toll booth when Milo leaned down and explained to you, his voice low and rumbling right in your ear, that everyone has to pay the toll, and that the toll for crossing over into these children's fantasy realms as an adult is that you are going to have to give up a childhood memory. It can't just be a trivial one. It can be good, it can be bad, no one cares. But it has to be important and vital to you. You will lose it forever. It will go into turning this keychain into a token that lets you navigate these childhood spaces. What was that memory you gave up?
Okay. um, let's say maybe my just some context. My character's wealthy, and his parents viewed him as like a privileged kid, and they didn't want him um hanging out with underprivileged kids and at school, because they essentially didn't want, bad influence on their kids from the poors. So they never let him really have friends. But and it was mainly his father that wanted this, where and his mother just sort of relented and just let it happen. But one time his father was out on business during his birthday, and his mother managed to surprise him with a bunch of his friends from school, like at their pool, and they had like this really awesome pool party. And he managed to actually make a few close friends that day that he kept throughout school, whereas he didn't have any up until that, which was like his 12th birthday. So, for a while, he didn't really know what it was like to have friends. But because his mom um, did that for him, he was, able to pretty much have a social life for the rest of his childhood and kind of make up for lost time. And he cherishes every memory he has with his mother, um, because she's like experiencing just like health problems and stuff, and some of which are cognitive.
Okay. Rhett, is that the same? Is that the part? Is that where you and Talia became friends? Didn't you guys go to school together, or did you know, or was
I think
that later?
we knew each other from college.
Okay. Okay. So the memory you have given up, there's a cold, aching spot in in the back of your mind. It's never going to go away. You'll never quite forget that you have forgotten something vital. And right now, it's kind of distracting you. It's like a broken tooth, man. It's just kind of going alternating to your heartbeat. Your heart thumps, the memory throbs. Your heart thumps, the memory throbs. But that's enough to keep you from focusing too hard on what's happening outside.
Hmm.
Whatever the void is trying to do, its scrabbling attempts, the way that its claws are rapidly sinking in to the rest of the party as they begin to bicker among themselves, as they start to turn a little bit against each other, look at each other with narrowed, suspicious eyes. That's not happening to you because you are distracted. You're too busy trying to remember what it is you've forgotten because you can't even remember why you've forgotten it. And in that state, you manage to bypass the void's trap attack and burst out into a thick, very dark wood. Okay. So what do you want to do? Do you want to keep going? Do you want to pull over? What do you want to do? Get out the tunnel.
Um, he's gonna pull over for just a moment, but just to sort of get his bearings before getting sort of right back on the road. So not much time is wasted. He's gonna pull over and try and just focus everything with his willpower to try and find out what he just forgot. And he's basically still trying to. It's almost like trying to remember a dream. After you've already woken up and texted your girlfriend or whatever, like, which is just what I do. I wake up and text her, and then I'm like, oh crap, I forgot what I was dreaming about.
Okay. So you quickly pull your car to the side. I mean, you're lucky you don't scratch the paint, but also you seem like the kind of guy who's not worried about scratching the paint. Oh, I'll just get it fixed.
I have
So
insurance.
insurance pays for those things. I have full coverage. It's not just liability. Okay.
I, all I have is liability in real
Couldn't
life,
be
so this
me.
is so funny to me. This is
I
so
know,
funny.
Bare minimum.
right? So you pull over, and as you do, you notice a couple things. One, you notice that everywhere your car is not a big enough space for your car to be in. There is a small, mostly overrun footpath that vanishes in and out among the underbrush. Um, and that's all that is in front of you. That's all that is behind you. There is no trace of the mountains. There is no trace of the tunnel you just exited. As your car travels, the phantom highways exist only underneath the tires of your car, almost as if somebody is working their black ass off to keep you from being noticed. So
Okay.
that's the good news. The bad news is that there is a blood curdling scream from the woods not too far in front of you. I mean, it is long, echoing, inhuman, terrified, terrifying, and it is definitely between you and literally everything.
Okay, well, that may be my friend and the other travelers. So is it close enough for me to get out of my car and run over there, or do I need to bring my car, or do I need to drive to get closer?
Um, you're probably going to want to drive to get closer. You can't see where it is. You can just hear
Okay,
that it is in front of you.
okay. All right, I'm gonna roll all my windows down, turn my radio off, and just listen. You know, turn the funk down, and just listen as I'm.
All right. So as you roll ahead, how are you approaching? Are you kind of creeping slowly? Are you driving
Yeah,
real fast in case it's an emergency?
yeah, like I'm creeping up on somebody with my car, kind of with on low gear, just sort of driving real slow.
Okay. So here comes Rhett creeping up like he's about to do a drive by. He's doing
That's
like
exactly what I thought.
17 through the woods out the window. He's ready to go. Um and as you crest, you realize that you've very slowly been going uphill. It's not a very steep incline, except when you look in your rear view, it is a ridiculously steep incline. You've gone up such a high hill, even though you only drove like this far. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Very normal. But as you look down into a very dark, overcast gully, you see a couple of things. You see a tall creature, person. It's a okay. So give a rabbit a whole bunch of real heavy drugs, like not just one or two. Like give the rabbit the party pack, and then sit down and explain string theory to him, and you get a hair. Now make that hair about 6'4", and then give him some more drugs, and you will see the creature struggling on the ground. It is wounded. There is a spear sticking through his leg, and he is surrounded by what looks to be about three 5 foot tall playing cards with ugly, shrunken, shriveled little Goomba heads perched on top of their edges just so. They're not, these are not whimsical, they're not cute, and they're not charming. This is definitely something that would deeply, traumatically upset a child when confronted with 52 of these things. You can only imagine as one of them turns around and you see that there's only like half a. He's looking at you in. He's looking at you in full. So why is there only a half? There's only a profile painted head on, and it's really.
Um,
Mm, it's not attractive. It's this is it's a mess. All of this is a mess. And you can see that just for a moment as they look at you and look at the hair on the ground and look at your car, look at the hair on the ground, and one of y'all is going to move. Do you want to try to move before they do? What you want to do, Rhett?
Um, is my character familiar with what he's looking at, like I would be in real life, sort of? Am I
Your
like
characters are as familiar with children's literature as you want them to be. You have to
okay?
set that parameter for me. Does he
Yeah, okay.
recognize what he's looking at?
Yeah, I think so because I remember during session 0 I mentioned that the only thing he wouldn't be familiar with is the toll booth because I'm not familiar with it, and I figured I'd just kind of match up the knowledge with myself and my character in this situation. Okay, so he's gonna run the cards over with his car.
All right. If you want to do that, here's what we're going to do. You're going to do the first roll of the night.
Okay, I like
So
rolls. Rolls are fun. What do
they
I
are
roll?
fun. So what you're going to do is instead of rolling your normal amount of dice for body, so if you pull up
Mm-hmm.
your character sheet and you see what your normal amount for body is, because your
Yeah.
vehicle, look and see what your armor class on the vehicle is and how many more dice do you get to roll.
Okay, I am at my house and I did not get my vehicle stats sent to me, unfortunately.
Oh, hold
Let me
on.
actually check it. I
Let me
may
bring that
have.
right here.
Okay, yeah.
A whole production book open. Let me just do. No, that's the finale page. Don't worry about it. All right, the sedan armor 0. Roll the normal amount of dice on defense checks when someone or something attacks the car or you attack them. So whatever your body score is, just roll your normal body score for physical attack.
Okay, which is really low. But I'm gonna. Can I use my one of my talents as I'm doing this? It just says to.
What are your human talents again? Let's see. Talk me into
I've
it.
got. I've got. Okay, so I've got a
I'm easy.
talent called. I've got a talent called Power of Belief, where I can spend one spirit to inspire an ally. I want to inspire the rabbit to like essentially get the hell out of the way in time, and it would give them if my heart is 3 or 4, which it is, it would give them 2 additional dice on their roll to get out of the way. So I'm
Okay.
basically gonna yell out the window like, "Get out of the way, pal! I'm about to run him over." Except, wait, I've
Um,
got a British accent. Except in a British accent,
except in a
yeah,
British accent. I
that
so
won't happen again. I hate it when I do that, but yes, you get the picture.
bring me your best freaking South Jersey. I don't care. It'll be funny as shit. New accents every minute. That's the theme for the rest of the show. Please don't do that. I'll be so confused.
No, that would be so hard. All right,
um,
so I just mark a spirit on the character sheet, like I marked skill when we first did it.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead. You have spent spirit, and here. Why don't you describe to me what happens, and I will roll at the last possible minute, and I'll tell you how it goes for the hair.
Okay, this all right. So yeah, I had to pull up a dice app on my phone. What do I roll, or are you gonna roll for me? You're saying?
Nope. You go ahead and roll for yourself.
Okay, all right. It's a 1d6 because I have a one body. Is that correct?
Oh gosh, you really do just have one body, don't you?
All
Yeah, buddy. Good
right.
news is I'm gonna go ahead. You know,
I rolled a 6. I rolled a
noise.
6.
So
Where's it?
for
It's a
those of
6
you
right there.
unfamiliar with good
No,
strong
no.
hands,
It's a 6.
nice. Um, the way it is played is that our characters roll a d6 or a number of d6 depending on what's going on, and they're trying to hit a target number. Sometimes I will tell them what the target number is ahead of time. Most of the time I won't. A 4 is super easy. A 5 is kind of hard. And a 6 is super hard to do. Our buddy Rhett just rolled a 6. So, because of that, you
I'm gonna
also get
drift.
boom.
Tokyo drift.
All right.
So that way I hit
So,
more of them.
that's fantastic. So, here's how this looks. Um, Rhett lays on the horn and it startles everything in the road. The cards flutter, they kind of scramble over themselves, and you realize that these are vicious, aggressive little things, but they're not very freaking smart. And they are most certainly. Let me turn my Discord off, Lord. It's going way. It's just going boop 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 boop.
Put yourself on Do Not Disturb, and it'll stop that. That's what I always do.
That's too much work.
Sorry
I just
about
turned
that.
it off. It's
It's
not,
so
and
easy.
so now my phone's doing it because I turned it off on the tablet.
No.
Everybody's like, but
Doot,
please just look
doot.
at me. I love you. All right,
It's
here
actually
you.
just us talking
I
in,
know it
in
is.
Discord.
It is
Toasting
just
immaculate.
us.
So, um, you and they kind of scatter and they flutter a little bit. Anytime they lose their balance, it takes them an extraordinary amount of effort to regain it because their mass is so wrong,
Hmm.
so wrong. And so as you gain this speed and whip your car into a tight circle, throwing your emergency brake as you jam on the gas, the front tires lock. The back tires begin to scream as they whip around the front, staying, which drifts. The back pulls you. You circle around this hare who just lies, covering its enormous freaking ears. It's covering its eyes with its ears. It's covering its ears with its hands. It's just waiting to be run over and just smooth as butter. You just boom, right around it, crushing those cards. I would not suggest looking too closely at the mess on the ground. You should probably wash your tires when you get a minute. But you do whip your car to a stop, perfectly aimed, like, woo, aimed, facing in the direction you should be. Sling open your door. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna quickly get out um and open quickly get out, open the back door, and then grab the rabbit and put him in the back seat.
All right. Um, so you grab this hare by the back of his tattered waistcoat, sling him into the back seat. Um, the the piece of spear, most of it broke off when you hit the card holding it. There is still part of it in his leg, so he greatly appreciates the ride as he leans forward and goes, "We have to go now." Wrong way. And the moment you get behind the wheel, this thing reaches ahead, like leans over the seat, grabs your steering wheel, and says, "Don't take your feet off the gas." What do you want to do?
Uh, I'm gonna hop into the passenger seat and say, "Well, why don't you drive then?"
And it just looks at you with one real big, bulgy eye, an eye that's seen too much and has stored it all. Don't know why. Keeping it for later, maybe. But it looks at you with one real big, bulgy, bloodshot eye and goes, "I got a spear in my leg, Mac. I ain't driving shit. Push the
Oh well,
pedals.
you took
Push
control of
the
the wheel
fucking
like.
pedals."
Ugh, all right, fucking weirdo. Fucking-
I mean, I would if I were you. This. Do you
I'm gonna
know
push the
the
pedals.
size teeth that a hare that is 6'4" has? Have you ever
Well,
been chased by a rodent?
it took the wheel like he wanted to control the damn thing. I was
Yeah, he
just
does
letting him
want to
have
control the damn thing. All right.
it. Yeah,
So,
all right, gas to a pedal to the metal, as they say. You know.
all right. So here's the thing. You are about to go on Mr. Hare's wacky ride. Good for you.
Woo!
As you press your foot down, and this enormous animal is just hissing in your ear to not let up, you watch the speedometer slowly as it whips up and up and up. It hits 75, 85, 95. You're doing triple digits. You are doing 135 through this overcast, overgrown wood. The road only exists where your tires are. You're not sure if the trees are jumping out your way because they don't want to get hit, or if this strung out bunny is moving your car that fast. But every time part of you winces and tries to lift up, you can hear its teeth click next to your ears. It goes faster.
You got it. You got it. Don't fucking bite me, please. Thank you.
So you guys whip through an impossible number of curves. You're pretty sure that at least twice you have doubled back in the direction you've come from. It seems like you're traveling in a bizarre, upside down, backwards curly Q. There's no way you're going anywhere. You are obviously about to pop out exactly where you were. Maybe this thing's just going to drive you back into the tunnel. At no point have you verified that you didn't actually just save the bad guy. Maybe those cards were just unfortunate and ugly. At no point have you ever said, Jim, were those cards the bad guys? You could be a hostage for all you know.
Yeah, well,
I would just
here we
like to
are.
point this out. But
That's
here we
fine.
are, you in it now. And at the last moment, right as your hands start to sweat, and you start to wonder, is it worth it to take your foot off the gas long enough to make this thing answer, are you a hostage or are you a hero? You see light. It's not much, it's thin and it's watery, it's gray. There's a storm on the edge. It seems to be pulling in from every direction on the horizon. But ahead of you, there is a tattered, raggedy group of tents. There's a tent city that has been built up around three particularly large but not well kept pavilions. The hair screams in your ear, hit the fucking brakes!
Yeah, well, then I hit them with both feet.
All right, so you give it your best, Fred Flintstone. You, boom. In fact, why don't you roll for me and let's see how that goes for you?
Yabba dabba doo. All right. Oh, hey, that accurately picked up on the captions. Yabba dabba doo. Anyway, that's impressive. More body, yay. Oh, I rolled a 2 that time.
Oh no. All right. So you I mean you do put both feet down. You Fred Flintstone it. You don't put both feet down in the same place. You manage to hit the gas
Oh no,
heavier than you hit the brake,
no.
and it is only the very quick movements of that hair as he one rabbit punches you to the side of your head,
Oh.
knocking you firmly and roughly out of your seat and into the passenger side. You thump against the door, your head cracks against the window. Um, but your foot comes off the gas as the hair whips your car into a series of tight, nauseating donuts. But it does steer away from these fragile tents.
Was that at all necessary? You almost gave me a fucking concussion, you madman!
The hair looks at you and it's a dirty look as he goes, Oh, oh, your precious little head. I'm sorry. Next time I'll let you. Next time, do you want to run over the hospital tent or do you want to run over the orphans? Which one should I have
Well,
given?
I didn't know. You were the one that told me to put. You didn't know we were
And
coming
then I
up on
told
the
you to hit the
place.
brake. And then I told you to hit the brake. And then I told you to hit the brakes. And then I told you to hit the
You
brakes.
could have told me to hit
Actually,
the brake
you know what?
earlier.
You know what? You know what? You know what? We're here now. Don't worry about it. I saved everyone. And you brought the wheels.
Oh.
And this thing slings open your back door. It's rude as fuck. It's strung out. It's shaking. I'm not kidding. This hair is fucked up. He's cranked. He's been cranked for days because he's been constantly running back and forth, leading streams. of escapees, of refugees, of those he could get out of the Red Queen city as fast as he could. He has lost his last batch. He doesn't know if they've been taken back to the city. All he knows is that the White Rabbit and the White Rabbit's group managed to attack him. They've lost all the refugees. Um, the White Rabbit's village should be absolutely marked as a do not go zone under any circumstances, and things are too dangerous. They have got to get Queen Alice out today. And like, no one is trying to be subtle. He is like screaming this across the muddy, torn up. You can see now that some of this mud has been made with blood. Um, you can see people starting to poke their heads out of the tents. People is a generous word. Most of them aren't human. Most of them aren't even humanoid. Lots of little animal shaped things. A shocking number of plants. Some trees. Lots, but very few people. The only real person shaped thing is a tall, spindly man. Um, his thick black hair is kind of shaved real short on the sides and is tied up high at the top. And he's got a series of fascinators, tiny little women's hats that are worn at an angle. He's wearing like four of them across his head. And he's like, "You know, I can't hear you when you're yelling so quietly." And their voices are literally booming across as they yell this.
Where the hell am I?
No one hears you. No one hears you. They are too busy yelling all of this, what seems like it should be really sensitive battle information. Things like numbers. You hear them talking about uh, dangerous places, do not go zones. They've lost the bolted gardens to the caterpillar's crew. The White Rabbit's village is absolutely a no go zone. The city has been lost. Entire districts have disappeared, swamped underneath these this dark, grody, purple tinged, void infested vegetation. Uh, you hear them yelling all of this, but none of them hear you yelling for help or asking questions as you stand next to your car.
I'm gonna go try and find someone else to ask. Then, if they've seen, some of the others.
Okay. So I have just a couple, like two, I think. I should only have to ask you like two of these questions. So I got like two questions for you.
Okay.
All right. So I would like you to describe your perfect hat, like the platonic ideal of a hat, if it has to be placed upon Rhett's head.
Um, a something fancy. What's something? I'm not much of a hat person. I what it what's the type of hat that? Never mind. I'm not sure. A just a regular ball cap, I guess. Like that's got like a no, because it's like a baseball thing.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love it. Who cares if it's a baseball thing? Tell me.
Um,
I didn't say it had to be a nice hat, a fancy hat, or even a good looking hat. I said your perfect idea of a hat.
yeah, okay. Just say just like a classic like bowler cap, like British. He's British.
All right. Awesome. Um, and then my next question, so pertinent because Rhett is British. What is their favorite tea?
Um, good. Do a little quick Google
I was gonna say, are
Rooski.
you googling teas right now?
Yeah, Yorkshire tea. Yorkshire tea.
All right, all right, all right. I promise you, these are actually super important. So, as you are wandering around, uh, you see that this place is hastily cobbled together. It has been obviously growing by the hour. Uh, in the beginning, they tried to space things out so that there were little pathways, and now just huts are nuts to butts. Like everything is pressed canvas to canvas. Things are made out of rusted piece of sheet metal. They're made out of cardboard. They're made out of layers of canvas and mismatched lengths of wood. Whatever they can build to keep the rain off people is what is just teetering around you. Um, there are, however, in the center, three, like I said, large pavilions. You can tell that everything was built around them. One of them is kind of garish. It's very blue and it's very purple. And the chevrons go in opposite directions, but not in rhythmic ways, just three, then one, then five, then two. Just it's a scattered, eye melting mess. It's pulled wide open so that inside you can see an enormous table. It's made of ragged edge driftwood. It hasn't been sanded. It hasn't been painted. There is, however, you can see faint marks of some kind scratched across it at the distance, and well over a dozen different size cups of tea in varying places across the table. The second tent is black. It's fully enclosed. It's by far the largest. Um, and there's muffled noises of pain coming from within. The third tent is red. It's peaked, kind of like a very, very small big top. You can't quite see in it, even though it's cracked in its doorway. And then there's all these other little crowded little mud huts around you. What you want to do?
Um, my character's just like got thrown out of an airplane and landed, and now is like, okay, well here I am. I'm alive still. That's essentially what he feels like. He wants to find a freaking place to sit down. You said there was a tent with the door cracked.
Yeah, the big the red pavilion has the door cracked. It seems to
Hmm.
be quiet. And then there is the one with the big table and all the tea. That one's wide open. And then there's that black one.
There's a place to sit with the tea.
There are seats. There's like 17 chairs around this table, and none of
Okay.
them match.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm gonna go find my favorite tea and my favorite hat and have a seat because I need to take a load off. You know?
All right. So as you wander into this eye-watering pavilion of mismatched silk and velvet, you approach the table, and these scattered, wide variety of chairs. Some of them are dining room chairs, and some of them are armchairs, and that's a folding chair. And that's one of those Jason Momoa pops it out in the comments section when
Oh
everyone's
yeah.
about to show their ass camping chairs. Like
I know the one.
whole bunch of them. At the far end of the table, you can see that the man with the four fascinators and the hair are arguing. They're just bip, 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 bitching, moaning, carrying on. Um, but you sit down in a nearby chair, reach for a cup of tea and realize that it's moldy. It's been there for so long that it's mostly solid. There's a
Ugh,
thick layer of scum on top of it.
I'm not drinking that.
No.
Not
Uh,
now.
and the Hatter turns around and screams at you. That's the White Rabbit's forces. Put them down.
Oh, well, now that you've decided to engage with me, I have a few questions.
And he looks at you and he goes, buddy, you ain't the only one.
Where the
And
hell are my friends? And I'm gonna hold up my phone with a picture of me and Talia. Me, this one, and some others.
uh, now you have his attention. The man in the four fascinators puts his big mitts right in the hare's face, shoves him out of the way, comes closer to you, looks down, is like, you have more humans with you. Where are the other humans with you?
I'm asking you that question, actually.
I didn't have the humans. You had the humans. You had one job, which was to be a human and show up with other humans to do the thing. So
I
you're
was.
telling me that I've got a human and not all the humans in the Queen's letter to do the thing.
Would you like me to speak and explain what happened?
He
Or
goes, no,
just sit?
no, it doesn't matter because I don't have the humans, and if you don't have the humans, then the Queen has the humans.
I'm gonna try to call Talia.
All right. There is a steady laughing, hissing static on your phone. It tries to ring. You can hear that it's almost going through. It even for a brief second connects. You cannot hear Talia. Talia can't hear you, but for a moment it connects. Talia, you can see Rhett's number on your phone screen. You know that Rhett is calling you. Probably.
Oh
Still
yeah,
having.
that's what happens when you put your mic up. Yeah, that's right. She's gonna try to call him back or like text him.
Okay.
Wait,
Rhett
I have
is.
a question.
Yes.
This is for Leland. Leland, do you think Rhett and Talia share locations?
Oh yeah, I was like, where the Find My iPhone doesn't seem to be working here in this realm.
I was gonna say, you think that would work?
If you guys
I don't.
turn on Find My Location, your phones will explode. I'm gonna tell you right now, your phones will
Okay, let's not
explode.
do that then.
That is a fact. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's listen to the GM in this one.
Because I don't know how to describe what your phones will do, so I will just make them explode because
That is valid.
like sleeping in the nether. Okay,
That is valid. All right. Talia's gonna try to call Rat frantically or like text like, "Where are you?"
okay. Um, so when you try to call, you can again hear it connect. Red, you can see that Talia is calling you.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of you can hear each other. You're not even hearing your own voices echoing back at this point. You're just hearing laughter through static. You're hearing the static laughing. Um,
Okay.
whenever you try to text each other, Talia, you are trying to text Rhett, and instead you are getting texts back that say they are from Talia, but they're not the text that you sent. If you sent Rhett, where are you? Talia replied, I won't tell.
Question: When when Rat calls, does my phone ring?
Your phone rings, but it doesn't. Your phone rings and it connects, but you can't hear anything other than this laughing static.
Well, I was gonna say, can I hear my phone ringing like my ringtone?
Yes.
Talia's gonna try to like keep calling and see if maybe she could hear Rhett's phone ring, like as she walks outside. Like she's gonna
Oh,
tell the others, like, hey, Rhett's calling. Like,
Oh, that
I'm not
means
doing that
he's
split up thing.
alive.
I've seen I guess maybe, but I want to do that thing where we split up and then I get murdered because I've seen too many horror movies and I ain't about that life. So let's go.
Oh yeah, buddy system.
Buddy system, let's go.
Yeah.
Wait, what about Orchid?
He stepped out,
This
didn't
is
he?
what happens when you don't stick to the buddy system. Okay, we're gonna
We're about to leave, so maybe he'll be outside when
yeah. Let's go see if
hopefully.
Orchid's outside.
Oh gosh, yeah, we did not do the buddy system on that one.
okay. So as the two of you go to stand up, already forgetting in your accountability excitement that by pairing up, you are leaving someone without an accountability buddy, mad or
Oh
not,
no.
your buddy system has already flawed and failed. Um, you thankfully don't have to deal with that because the very dapper moth steps between you and the door and very politely says, "Oh, there's no service out there either. Don't worry, dear. Your pie is almost done."
Okay, I just want to grab my friend really quick that was here with us, and then we'll come get our pie.
And the moth looks at you very politely and very sweetly puts his little hand right on your forearm. And as he does, the grip in that tiny, like like a small hand, like the size of a preschooler, because he's just a little moth dude, but the strength in those little buggy insecty fingers as he grips you and goes, "No, no, no. You have to wait for your pie. The Duchess is making it just for you," and begins dragging you back to the table.
Oh,
Get
okay.
your hands off her.
Yeah, please let me go. I don't like being touched. I'll
Around
sit
you,
down.
the other animals are looking at you. Some of them are they're starting to look a little bit sharp, kind of long. Their eyes are a little brighter than they were. Their smiles are kind of sideways. They look Some of them look like they'd probably prefer not to come within a couple feet of water. They're starting to look unwell.
Is there water nearby?
I mean,
We were served water, right?
I don't know where you served water.
I thought we were. We were given something to drink, weren't we?
Someone
I'm pretty
asked for
sure you were.
water.
That was it. Or I think yeah, Melanie asked for water.
Yeah.
I never got it.
Yeah, funny how everybody forgot to bring you the water, huh?
Dang it. Talia's gonna bite the moth.
Now, look, I literally just gave you the Cujo keywords that some of these things have rabies, or at least magic rabies, and you're gonna put your mouth on them.
Okay, can she reach for the knitting needle in her boot?
You can. That you can do.
Okay, then I'll say because I didn't think she could reach it. So if she can reach it, she's gonna do that. But if not, she's gonna fucking bite a moth. So she's gonna grab the knitting needle and stab the moth in the eye.
Oh gosh.
Talia has no chance.
I love one Talia.
All right.
The problem is Talia has one body.
So, here's the thing. He's small and he's shifty and he definitely doesn't want to get poked in the eye with a knitting needle. Um, so why don't you go ahead and roll your 1d6 and tell me what you get?
Oh, you're not gonna tell me the difficulty, are
I
you?
am not.
Oh. Oh, I'm scared. Mom, pick me up. I'm scared. 5.
Nice. All
I
right.
don't think it's enough.
So here's the thing. You do not manage to get it in the eye.
Oh, damn.
He moves very fast. He does let go of you to wing backwards very fast, um, flutters up, scatters a fine spray just everywhere of dusty particles. It's thick. It you can taste it. It tastes and it smells of moldering books and rotting parchment and old dry, unwashed skin. Like it's gross. It's everywhere. But he does let go of you and
Hey,
flies away with a little cut across his face and sits in front of the door. And then everyone, no one else touches you. They all just return to their tables and continue to watch you very intently
anybody else want to try to keep me
with
here?
eyes.
No?
Everyone wants to try to keep you here. No one is afraid of that. They're all willing to take a hit to the eye if necessary.
Seeing this,
But as long as you're sitting down, they're not going to approach and try to put their hands on you again.
Hmm. Talia's gonna call Red again.
All right. Your phone steady rings, 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 picks up, but does not connect. This time you can hear words in the static. You can hear, oh, oh, they don't learn. It's very sweet. Keep trying, little hero.
Patronizing son of a bitch. All right. Hey, Piney. What we do?
um, and she like reaches to the pendant on her around her neck. And she starts to whistle.
Okay. Well,
It's that whistle that you like covertly give to your dog.
yeah.
Okay. So let's see. That sounds like a clever little trick. And since it sounds like a clever little trick as opposed to like trying to fight your way through something, I'm gonna ask you to roll a do. If my
Talia's
thing
like, she's lost her mind.
I'm gonna have you roll a. I'm trying to decide between charm and heart. You know what? Let's go with heart. Let's go with heart because it's got to carry out the building.
That is 5 + 2. Is it 7?
Okay, so you got a 5 and a 2.
Yes.
Excellent. So you got one hit and one dice that hit and one dice that did not. No one cares that the other
Oh,
dice
wait, I
did
just
not. You
ran
just
one.
had to
That is
hit
my
one
bad.
time.
That is my bad. Let me roll the other one. I just added the 2. A 5 and a 1. Then
Okay.
plus you 2.
So there you go. Either way, that 5 hits. So here's what happens. As you begin to whistle, it's a low kind of I cannot whistle at all or I would do it for you. But it's
I
one
can
of
do
those.
it.
Oh good. Call the dog, please. See, you think you're funny, you're all like, see? You can't hear it because you're not a dog.
I was about to say that.
I'm a proud dog mama, and I'm so lucky my dog did not come in here saying, "What are you doing, mommy?"
It's so funny because the sound definitely did not carry. Zoom was doing its job. It's like, do you want me to filter out weird ambient sounds? It sounds like you are trying to make the dog start barking.
Yes,
So it's
exactly.
great. So a very low, quick, come here whistle is escapes your lips. The humans at the table, at least after the first one or two, start to recognize what you're doing. There's a pretty standard, if you can whistle in America, there's a pretty standard call that you use to get your dog to come back. It just is. It's in all the pop meat, it's in all the pop culture. Your dad probably learned it from pop culture. He taught it to you. The come here, come here, come here, the do 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 do. You let one of those go. No one in the None of the animals of Wonderland, none of the wild can understand what you are doing. A couple of the vulpines look up. The foxes are their ears prick and their eyes get a little bit bigger. They look at you. They're very interested. What's that sound you're making? But other than that, they don't come any closer. No one, no one is willing to risk the Duchess' wrath if they come closer before you've had your pie. The Duchess really just wants to know that you like it. Uh, but thankfully, no one's going to have to test that theory. You can hear it. Sounds like a mad ass little pony, big, fat, soft little feet charging and right at the building. And for a minute there, you think maybe he's going to hit the door. You're not sure what's going to go on. And half a small fucking sapling comes crashing through the window.
Best boy.
The
Ah.
entire root end goes slam. Glass flies across tables. The chickadee ducks her head. The field mouse scurries under a table. The moth takes a small piece of glass. It tatters his wings and he is forced to retreat behind a nearby bench.
I'm immediately grabbing both of their hands and just trying to get us out through this new
Yeah.
opening. Just come on, let's go.
Wait, I just realized something.
What?
Hmm.
So Melody was like hiking like in the woods or something like that. Wouldn't Melody have water in her bag?
Yeah, definitely. Along with all them peanut butter sandwiches.
Cool. So as the three of you, melt, you guys have been grabbed. You are being dragged along to safety. You're making a direct beeline to Talk, who has swollen. He is big in that smashed out way he's made. He's got his ears laid back, his nose is wrinkled, his jowls have drawn all the way up, and there are canines as long as my finger on slavering display as that he puts the bass in his voice. He's a big boy and he's unimpressed. And most of the small woodland creatures scurry. They break at the sound of that dog barking. But the foxes run forward. Their hair begins to bristle. They begin frothing at the mouth. Their heads are twitching. They jerk as they move towards Talk faster. They are not scared of the dog. They are rabid and they are not afraid.
Melanie's gonna yell out to Talk. We need to get out of here now. Please.
Well, here's the thing, the dog has your six. He's a good boy. He's the best boy. He's not having this Cujo bullshit. He is not going to lead. He's going to follow from behind. The best thing y'all can do is try to haul ass. But right now, if you do, I'm just going to let you know the Wildkin are faster than you three humans. The end.
Are we close to where my bike and their cars are?
You guys are fairly close to your vehicles. You only have to sprint like 100 feet. There's only 100 feet between you and these vehicles. But one, there's nothing between you and the Wildkin when you get to your vehicle, Talia. You're on a motorcycle. Two, you
I
still
really
got to
did think
get
that through.
in. You still got to start the thing. and these things are faster than you. But there's only like 100. What do you want to do?
How many foxkin are there?
There are two adults and three cubs, so there are five of them right now. But the
Oh,
three cubs are not particularly big.
Talia's gonna sorry about this, Melody, but like reach into Melody's bag, grab the
okay,
water,
go for it.
and just run and start like trying to pour water like at the foxes. Like
Okay,
it is not well thought out, but she's just like
it is not well thought out.
I mean,
So,
whatever gets them to stop, I guess.
so you start to run forward. TikTok does not let you past him. As you reach, even with his shoulder, he whips around and his jaws flash as he very quickly latches on to the back of your clothing and yanks. You jerk forward. The flask does not leave your hand, but it tumbles forward. And in a little, the power of Christ compels you. You hit him with that good old 1970s exorcist shit. It splashes into the face of these rabid foxes, and they begin to shake their heads, to paw at their faces, trying desperately to claw. Hydrophobia is a bitch, man. I'm just saying. And they're rolling, they're freaking out. You've got a couple minutes to get to the vehicles.
let's go, let's go, let's
Yep,
go.
yep,
Like
yep.
let's see if Talk can give Talia a ride because Talia's not fast. She can't. She has trouble
Melanie
walking.
is actually going to grab Talia and with her bad knees and some memories of running away from something, drag her to her Jeep.
Damn, I like that car. Okay,
Oh.
I like that bike.
Okay,
Mhm.
so Talia, you are yanked for Melanie to be such a like she's not a big lady. She's not. Bless her heart. Ooh, she yank you like she's seven. She yank you like she's Shaq. She just go, boom, slams you into the Jeep.
Oh
She
shit, that's
leaps
so
in.
funny.
Man, she gets into that Jeep like she's one of them Duke boys. Just woo, in smooth as butter. The dog jumps in through the back. By the time the three of you are loaded, Melody's already in the dune buggy. She's like, "Let's get the fuck out of here!"
Where's Orchid?
Yeah, where's Orchid?
And as you guys look around, you can see nothing. There is not a trace of Orchid.
The food truck? Is the food truck still there?
There is not a trace of Orchid. You don't see the food truck. You don't see Orchid. You don't see anything.
Hawk, what do we do?
We gotta go. I don't want to leave anyone behind, but where's his truck? Where's he? Where'd he go?
Jesus Christ, we keep losing everybody.
I know, right?
Turn the car on, get it into gear, drive.
I are things following after us? Muted.
You're muted. So here's the thing. Right now, a couple of the wildkin have spilled forward out of the shop and they're looking, they're pointing. You can hear them shouting backwards through the doors. They're pointing in the direction as you guys are tearing off towards the woods. And distantly, not here, but you can hear that they're shouting. It sounds like it's echoing up from the dry well on the edge of town as you zoom past it, but no one's following you yet.
As we're exiting the town, passing through the streets, I would like to activate the Dune Buggy special move.
All right. Why don't you tell people what the Doom Buggy does?
The
You have
Dune
to say the
Buggy.
name.
The Dune Buggy has a killer sound system. So I am going to activate the Party Rock special move, and whoever hears it will never stop dancing.
Yeah.
That good.
All right. So as you guys are trying to leave town and more little eyes are peering out of doors, and you can see these things starting to psych themselves up to make an attack to rush at the vehicles to stop you by any means from leaving town. You reach over and you flip over the radio on the dune buggy. In the back, where instead of neat little pop-up tail lights like on really fancy cars, something like those pop up, but they're speakers. They're so small, man. It's ridiculous. They look like some of those $10 Bluetooth speakers from Big Lots, but you can feel your car begin to vibrate as you turn up the music slowly. It hits 10, and then you watch it crank itself to a previously unmarked setting that appears 11, and behind you, music begins to pulse. It begins to shake the air and pull creatures bodily out of the door. They rise into the air. Their bodies begin to twitch, to contort, to jerk in spastic little parodies of dancing. They're almost dancing. The sound is moving them. It's kind of rhythmic. It's never going to stop, but you get out. You have also definitely, with that slightly heroic, maybe a little bit monstrous move, caught the attention of the void. The void
Yay.
never stopped watching, but its eyes are very much on you right now, Melly. So you are unfortunately going to have to mark one shadow on your track.
Okay.
I didn't say the cool moves came for free. I said you had cool moves.
Yeah, I figured there had to be a cost, but now we know we're not going to be followed, which is important.
True that.
I mean, by the Wildskin, we won't be.
Yeah, the things that were actively coming for us. Well, no, that's also not true. Never mind.
Talks in the car with Melanie and Talia, right?
Yes, Talk is sitting in the Jeep with Melanie and Talia.
Talia's gonna ask Talk, like, is there any way, you can talk to Milo and ask him to, like, I don't know, put a lookout for Rhett and Orchid
Uh,
so we can meet up, we can find them.
Talk looks at you and he lays his ears down flat and his tail droops and he kind of whines and he goes, "Not a walkie talkie, man. I can't. Look, when we make it, when we drive through a land, as soon as you make it out the other side, as soon as the land is anchored, Milo can feel it and it reconnects the phantom toll roads back to the lands. As soon as you do your job, he'll know and he'll be able to find all of you,
Including Orchid and Rhett.
including Orchid and Rhett. We
So we're not
just have to get
leaving
the
them.
job done. No one, hey, no one gets left behind. That's not what good boys do. He's so offended. That's not what good boys do.
I didn't think you were doing it. I just thought that was how the world worked. It's not you.
And he looks a little sad, a little droopy as he goes, "Maybe that's how reality works. This is not reality. We don't leave our friends behind. We always go back if we can. Even if
Well,
back means going the wrong way, like forward. We got to go forward, just like we couldn't stop."
Melanie's gonna reach over and give him scritches and just say, "Thank you. Good boy."
All right. So, Melody, you're all by yourself. You are in your dune buggy. It has stopped playing. This It has turned itself back down. Just very slowly, the 11 is no longer even visible. It's sitting at a nice, reasonable 4, loud enough that you can still hear it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's You can feel it a little bit in your chest, but it's not blowing your ears out, and it's definitely not sending anything into a Beetlejuice dance for the rest of eternity. So, how you feeling? What's going on with you?
uh, Pat the dashboard after it simmers down and thank it for being a good car and getting us out of scrape. Uh, Thinking on how we've been here less than a day and already lost two people, and of course it's the guys. Um, Trying to suss out what we need to do next because we don't know all that information that Rhett has, but that was obviously a bad situation, and now not really knowing who to trust or if we can trust anyone here besides Talk. Just kind of sitting alone in her thoughts, trying to figure out what our next move might be as far as getting everyone back together and ensuring that everyone's safe. And that's really weighing on her and kind of freaking her out a little bit that we've already lost two people and got who's next.
Right. Well, I mean, there's some good news and there's some bad news, and they're both the exact same piece of news, which is at least you guys don't have to figure out which direction you're going. In the front car, Melanie, I you're driving, so Tal, if you gesture to Talia to go in the glove box, Talia, that is where you will find where Talk has put Milo's map. And when you pull it out, you will see that there is only one road. No matter how many times it splits, circles, backs, forth, goes sideways, it's always one road and it's always where your little cars are. You're watching like a 2001 map quest trying to update in real time on paper. Just little tiny boop, boop, boop icons jerking along through the woods. But there's only one direction you can go at this point, and that's the direction of the scream you heard earlier. So, do you guys recognize that that's the direction you're going in, or are you just fleeing blindly?
I'd
I
probably
feel
pick
like,
up on that.
yeah, I feel like they
Yeah.
know.
Right. And are you at all concerned about this fact?
I'm
I
just
wouldn't
tired.
be until or if we hear screaming again.
Okay.
If we don't hear screaming, that means that, well, no, it could still be there, but at least it's not doing its unsettling screaming thing.
Okay. Well, I mean, I got good news and I got bad news.
And it's the same
and
news.
they're
It's
and
the
they're both
same.
the same piece of news. Um, Good news and the bad news is that as you guys crest over a hill, you see a small glade, and that glade is tore the fuck up. There are tire marks dug into the sod and the dirt. The ground is churned up into a bloody, muddy mess, and there's you know if you can't make jam out of cards. They're just not built for it. But if you could make jam out of cards using, say, the tires of a sedan, that's what's left on the ground. You should see the way my family is looking at me right
You see the way I'm looking at you. What?
I'm clipping that.
Ow. They're
Card
like,
goo, card goo.
so
So I mean, there you go.
we can clearly see tire marks.
You can see tire marks. It's pretty obvious once you get a little bit closer what has happened. Someone has smeared these poor gentlemen's lipstick all over the highway.
It's, yep, just the lipstick.
Talk, is there anybody else who would have a car?
Talk looks at you and his tail, like you can hear his tail. It's just thumping. It's hitting the door, the seat, the door, the seat, the door, the seat. He says, no. Only humans have cars. Don't be ridiculous. Who else would want a fucking car? Sorry.
You realize I'm going to be asking you a lot of stupid questions, right?
Humans do that. It's good. We still like
All right, so
like it's
this
not your fault. It just is how it is.
is probably either Rhett or Orchid.
That
I
is
don't
true.
know which of them's capable of card murder.
All right. So, are you just talking to Melanie and talk, or have you guys pulled over? Did you roll down the windows? Are you including Melody? What's going on with all y'all right now?
I think that's up to Melanie because it's her car.
He's just gonna like try to see if there's like she sees the initial D that happened
Mm-hmm.
and the 52 cards swipe up.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gonna try and see if there's like one set of tracks going in a certain direction.
Go ahead, and I'm gonna have you roll too. Roll your mind for me.
Okay. Melanie, like me, is from Long Island. We drive like that. Not all of us, but we do. Okay, so 3 and a 2, and then mind is 4.
Okay. So your score for mind is 4. Then you need to roll 4d6 for me.
Oh shit. Okay. Do you want me to re-roll those two?
Yep. Roll all of them fresh.
Okay. I have a 6, a 5, a 6, and a 3.
Okay. Well, you swept that bitch. Good job. So here's what happens. You have not just a success, but a success with a boom. Because you rolled them double sixes, you rolled such a good job that you're going to get some kind of extra surprise at some point. At some point, I will surprise you with an extra turn, an extra clue, something that relates directly to what has happened just now that will make things better for you. The bad news is that, however, you have now also gained the attention of the void. You can feel it. It doesn't speak to you, but you can feel it on the back of your neck. As you lean down, it's almost like it's got its hand on your shoulder and it's leaning over the other one looking with you as you both explore as you both kind of track the tires that vanish both into nothing, and as you creep your Jeep a little bit closer, are also clearly still marked on the highway. So the good news is that there is a path that you can see. It's a gross, yucky red path, but you can see it as long as you guys are on the highway. Right? The bad news is that we're going to go on break.
Ah!
Okay, we're going to pay them Bezos bills. We're going to go make fun of somebody who bought a social media site. Don't worry about it. I won't say anything mean. I'm totally a nice person. And then we'll be back in about 10 to 15 minutes. Get your drinks, get your bios. We'll see you when we get back. And we're back. Hello, everyone. Hope you enjoyed your break. Got everything you need to do done. Got it all out. Tweeted about us and said, y'all, she's lost it tonight. She's making card jelly. If not, that's fine. You came back for the card jellies. And that's what's really. You had something in your mouth, didn't you? I was not even looking at you.
And you almost killed Shears.
Well,
It
that
went
would have
up my
just
nose.
fucked up the whole show. It would have just. Sorry. We're down two players. One of them's sick. The other one's dead now. We gotta. I'll see y'all in January, I guess. Okay.
And that's just a sneak peek.
So,
Not even a moment of silence. Just I'll
not
see
even a
y'all in
moment of
January.
silence. We just gonna keep it pushing. I mean, how am I gonna tell you? I
The
told
show must go
y'all
on.
things are cyclical. The universe turns, and we keep pushing. Everyone's in the vehicle. In the vehicles, you're following Melanie's jeep. Melanie's jeep is following the bizarre twists and turns and sharp, sudden, just U bends and this bends and that bends and Y bend. But eventually, you corkscrew your way through this dark forest. You can tell that Rhett's car, truck, whoever it was, they were moving fast. Every time something turns, you can see speed lines. You can see where they've skid. You can tell that at no point was there ever a break. They were just going faster and faster and whoo. But eventually you break from the trees at a very reasonable speed. So you have plenty of time to see in the distance that there is this ramshackle, hastily thrown together tent city. Um, because you're approaching slowly, you get to see, the people, wildkin, like the ones you just left, but not. They're not charmingly, adorably dressed. They're not perfectly groomed. They're bloody. They're dirty. They're hungry. They're scared. There's hope in their eyes, but it's buried deep behind fear and behind anger and behind hurt. Um, Man, have you ever seen a betrayed looking titmouse, which is a bird, not
Oh,
a mouse? Tits. Like, cause that's what's looking up at you, just scared and but wanting to believe and unable to, as you guys slowly pull your vehicles to a stop.
I'm gonna hop out, and we just came from a really bad situation with creatures that look like this, so not aggressively, but I'm gonna have that metal water canteen in my hand in case I need to start swinging.
Talia's coming out with her knitting needles, like ready to stab.
Melanie, like they did at the when they first got to the the now murder village, um, gets out first, opens the door for talk, and if Talia hadn't gone out yet, she'd open it for her too.
Okay. So Talk jumps out and he does not wander off. He stays very close to you guys. But his tail is in a friendly neutral position. It's up. It's a little bit, it's not wagging, but it's not still. It's doing a gentle sway that says, I could wag if y'all don't ruin this. Don't ruin this for us. But he's not aggressive. He, in fact, is very docile as some of the smallest animals, little small ones kind of peeking around their parents. But also very large small ones. You see a fat little boulder of a rock. Hush, Gina. No, shush. You see a even bigger fat black dog just barking for no reason, but like not aggressively at you. You can tell she's scared. She's just fluffed up and mouthy for no reason. Oh yeah, I'm shaming you on stream. Look at me if you want to.
Wow, that's some really in-depth role playing. I can hear the dog
It
from here.
is like but none of them move towards you guys.
What do you guys think?
They don't seem aggressive, but neither do the other ones at first.
Take me to your leader.
Oh, yeah. Do we see Rhett's car?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So at the moment you don't. You could if you looked around a little bit, but at the moment you don't.
I think Talia is really good to say, "Take me to your leader."
All right, Mort.
Oh, yeah.
So
Totally valid.
that's hilarious. I know good and hell well that at least two of you are not old enough to know who Mork is. You might know just from
I
Nanu
do
nanu.
know more. Okay.
from osmosis. Like some of us are old enough that we watched that shit on a console TV flat on the floor of
Okay,
big
no, I watched the
enormous
DVDs.
24 inches.
TV Land is a gift.
I love Mork and Mindy.
Yeah, I'm totally old enough that I caught it on syndication. Like, and not
What?
like not TV land syndication. Like there were only 12 channels in the world syndication. Oh yeah. Oh, I look good for my age. Anyway. So Talia goes, take me to your leader. And mostly the small creatures around you cringe backwards. Like some of them literally fall over themselves trying to get away from you.
Valid.
But one of them, just a real ang okay. You have not seen an angry looking wildkin so far. You've seen some scary rabid ones, and you've seen some overly polite, well dressed ones, and now you've seen some hungry, torn up refugee ones, but you ain't seen a mad one yet. Um, and instead, what you see is the angriest mouse you've ever seen in your life. One of his ears has a pretty decent sized chunk torn from it. His whiskers are, there's blood on the end of his whiskers. It's not his. His hands are very steady, but the rest of him seems to be shaking a little bit. He's Everybody's been up for too long. Everybody's been up for too long. And this mouse stomps over towards y'all. You can see he has a stethoscope around his neck and a saucer on his head. You don't know how it's staying there. It's at a jaunty angle. It's entirely too happy and whimsical for a real pissed off looking mouse with blood on his whiskers and a stethoscope as he goes, who are you then?
Hi, I'm Talia. There were a bunch of animals that were trying to kill us. I just want to make sure you're not going to do that.
And he looks you up and down and goes, what'd you do?
They were trying to give us pie. Something
Um,
about a duchess.
there are some faint screams from the crowd behind you. You hear some people start to cry, and the mouse looks at you very seriously and goes, you didn't get any. Were you able to get anyone else out?
We were barely able to get us out. We lost a person. We lost two people. There was two other humans. One got lost before we went there. Why am I the one talking?
You're the one that asked for a leader.
Okay, I guess I'm talking. Okay, so there was a guy in a food truck, and then there was a British guy, and well, you don't have Brit in here, but there was a guy in a sedan. You don't know what a food truck or a sedan
And
are.
You would think that the mouse doesn't know what a sedan is, but it huffs in absolute disgust and it goes, "That fucking twat. Yeah, no, no. I've got one of your humans. You didn't
Which
lose
one?
him, you dropped him here. The one in the that." And he turns around and you can see where turf has been torn up, where someone has obviously, and it must have been Rhett from the sound of this pissed off mouse,
Oops.
come at a dead, fast tear directly at the heart of this village, only to have cut their wheel drastically and torn up the ground for like 300 yards before coming to a teetering halt on
Oh
the edge of the
Jesus.
woods.
Rat. Okay, I'm sorry about him. Can you take us to him though? I'm sorry about him. He I'm sorry about him.
Don't be
He
sorry.
didn't even do it. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. It was the other guy
Talia
in the castle.
fully thinks it's Rhett's fault.
Like patting Talia on the shoulders. You didn't do nothing.
I know, but he's my friend, so I should probably apologize for him. I'm
Well,
used to
he'll
it.
apologize on his own.
He
um,
won't.
so the mouse looks you up and down. The mouse appreciates your apology. Uh, and so he softens a bit towards you, Talia, and he goes, it's that's just how humans are. It's not your fault. You can't It's literally the nature of reality that you destroy everything when you come here.
That
You're
sounds
like you're like
yeah.
you're like fire. You're like fire in an old wood. You just make space for the new shit, I guess. Come with me. And he turns his back and begins limping. He has a very serious injury. He is missing one of his feet, but he moves very fast despite that. At a little three-legged lope, and you really are going to have to scurry to keep up with him as he darts in and out.
As we're kind of going through and following him and passing through this crowd, any critter that I would ID as smaller or a child perceive as a child, I'm going to take the very last peanut butter sandwich I have and start like dividing it into smaller bites.
Don't give it to any birds.
Oh,
If there's any bird
no,
creatures, the bread's bad for them.
I know.
Bread's bad for real birds. These are wildkin. They literally bake bread. Tell that duck baker. There's literally a duck baker with his
Oh,
hungry duckling children. I want you to look that duck baker in the eye and tell him that his job means nothing and his children cannot have a sandwich.
Talia just doesn't want to kill
He's
anybody.
wearing pants. The duck is wearing pants. Don't worry about the bread crust.
I still don't know the ethics of Wonderland. Nobody's explained it to me.
They're very loose. That's all I've gathered.
oh my gosh.
Whose food? Whose people? Whose?
No
Little
one's
bit of
explained
everything.
it. No one's told us how this works.
They were serving us hair pie, but there was a hair there. Like,
That's a
Oh
bit
boy.
much.
So yeah, I'm just trying to like seeing that they're desperate, seeing that they're hungry, just divvy out whatever I can, which isn't much, but hopefully it provides a little bit of comfort.
if there's
So the dormouse pauses and turns around. He sees you dividing up the last two sandwiches and he gives you a very approving smile. And he goes, "If you don't like the answers you hear, come find me in the black tent. Your friend's in there." And he points towards this garish, ridiculously patterned purple and blue mess of chevrons. And as you peer into the darkness and your eyes adjust, you can see that Rhett is sitting at a very large table. It has a ridiculous number of teacups and saucers all over it. And he is flanked by two very large figures, one of which is a dusty brown hair. His ears are everything about him is twitching, and none of his limbs are moving in the right order at the right time. His ears are moving separately. One of his eyes is darting around while the other is fixed straight on you. And it feels very much like he's looking into you. He hairs, man. Hairs. The other is a human figure. His head is slightly askew, like it's a little I don't want to say his head's too far over because that feels rude, but his head's too far over. It's
Mm-hmm.
not up and down, it's to the left. Um, it's got four fascinators of different sizes and colors on them. One of them has a little veil. They're all very feminine. He's ridiculously hyper masculine, but he loves his beautiful little hats. He's got a bunch of them. They're, in fact, not even the same four hats that he was wearing when Rhett showed up. He's changed them at least twice by now. Rhett, you have had to sit through this little fashion show. You are wearing a hat. It's a very plain bowler. It's a very nice bowler. It's beautifully, perfect, perfectly handcrafted. It fits your head like a dream, like it was made for you. And yet you're sitting there very still and a little bit nervous as both their hands dig into your shoulders, and everyone looks at you and you look at everyone else.
That's your friend, right?
Rhett,
Can I hear?
You guys can see and hear each other.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at something on my character sheet. It's if in case I missed the detail towards the end there, but as soon as I notice them, yeah, my character is going to just spring up and making sure not to knock over some of that disgusting rotten tea sludge, and run over and um, definitely give his friend a hug, and then make sure she's real.
I was gonna say, tell me something only Rhett would know about Talia.
Um,
I don't make up.
uh, he lists off a very specific like perfume that she wears,
Okay, you're Rhett.
and it's like hard to get. It's South Korean. You have to order it from a website that you have to translate, hit Google Translate on.
It's the only bougie thing she owns.
The only bougie thing sounds. All right. So Rhett, your shoulders are sore from where you have pulled yourself free from these two. They let you go, but they let you feel the strength in their hands. They let you know that they were letting you go.
Okay.
Um, and now it's the four of you on one side of the table, facing down the Mad Hatter and the March Hare. And the Hatter leans forward and he just kind of starts rubbing at his temples and massaging above his brow. And he goes, "Now, we have ourselves a small problem here. The Red Queen has Alice, the White Queen of Wonderland. She does this sometimes. This is our 23rd Alice, but this time the Void is aligned with the Red Queen. The Void sweeps through our world like fire and replaces it, renews us. It's not normally a bad thing, it's just a thing that is. It's death. Mortals are scared of death. Real things are scared of death. The rest of us, it's a thing that happens. But this, there's a corruption. Uh, for the first time, he really looks up at you, like looks into all of your eyes. And Melanie, he looks deeply into yours. He leans forward a little bit and he goes, "You, you look like you could wear two hats at once." And then shakes his head, does not wait for you to reply, and continues speaking. Um, and what he tells all of you is essentially that you have been summoned. You were summoned by Alice before she was captured, and you got one job as far as she's concerned. As far as Alice is concerned, one of you has to take the crown of Wonderland and become the new anchor. He does not explain what becoming the new anchor is. He does not clarify. He says it like it's something you should all instinctively understand. Like everyone, like you wouldn't stop to explain what a president is to another adult. You'd be like, so and so is the president. You'd expect them to know what a president is. He expects you to know what an anchor is. He will be deeply surprised if any of you ask. Um, and he tells you that Alice expects one of you to become the new anchor, and that he expects for all of you to help him attack the city and free Alice. It doesn't matter, he says, who the anchor is, just that Wonderland has to have an anchor. And no offense to you, or maybe all offense to you, because he really doesn't care. He doesn't want you. He's been friends with this Alice for a very long time. He wants his Alice.
What happens to Alice when one of us becomes the anchor?
And he looks at you and just there's like a crack across his face. You can see for a second he almost loses his composure. And he goes, "You cannot be the anchor as long as Alice is alive."
We have to kill her?
He doesn't think you'll make it in time to save her. And he puts his hands flat and heavy on the table and he goes, "And I think she's wrong."
Well, let's prove her that way then.
How can we help?
He, for his shoulders slump, but not like a sad slump, like an, oh, thank God someone is asking to help me instead of asking me to help them slump. As he goes, humans wield a particular set of powers when brought from the mundane to the fantastic. There are things you can do that no one else can, because what you imagine can affect our reality. You have to come with me and help us breach our way into the city. If I ride with you and March rides with you, and he points to the hare who is looking both at the ceiling and at y'all out the corner of his eye. I mean, his eye, woo, one of them, I don't know which one is wonky. I'm not sure he remembers at this point which one of them is facing the right way and which one is drifting, but one of them is not in the direction it's supposed to be. And that's the one he's watching you with. He nods as the Hatter says his name. If you can give March and I a ride in, we can make it to the gates and meet up with the widest part of our army. They set out 2 days ago. We'll make it in time to smash our way through, and then we just have to set siege to the Scarlet Palace. If we can make a big enough noise, maybe a small team can get in and save Alice before she's beheaded.
Well, when do we? I assume we should waste no time and leave now, correct? Or should we leave in the morning? Or what does your plan entail?
Uh, he laughs. He goes, "Morning. We haven't. There hasn't been a morning or a night or anything but this
Oh
endless
my God.
evening for I don't know how long." And the hare starts to sob, and he goes, "It's been so long since tea time came around."
This conversation's pointless while your friend Alice's head is at risk. So could you tell us when we need to leave then?
Uh, the Hatter stands up and he goes, "Well, in just a moment, as soon as we outfit you all in the haberdashery, come with me." And he stomp, just kind of stompingly swans his way out. If you've ever seen, have you ever set your sim to that real aggressive walk? The Hatter
Yeah,
walks like that. He kind of hunches over himself,
it's
and you
hilarious.
realize that as big as he is, he's actually bigger than that. He is human shaped, but the Hatter is not human. And as he walks by, you can see that the reason his head is set so far to the side is there is a scar along the rather sizable gap that runs across his collarbone, as if there was once another head there.
Oof.
So he leads you guys into the next tent, the big red pavilion, the haberdashery. And inside, there's hats. There's so many hats. There's so many freaking hats. And now it's time for me to ask the rest of you the question I asked Leland earlier. I'm going to need you one by one to describe your perfect hat as you are just inexorably drawn to it and find yourself picking it up without thinking about it. Let us start with Rosie. Why don't you tell us about Melody's perfect hat?
Um, it is out of all these hats, hats on hats on hats. She is drawn to a wide brimmed hat that is this purple, gold, and light blue marble, the one that I had sent a picture of earlier. It is perfect for shielding out the sun. It is brightly colored. It's got this neat geometric pattern to it. It is just lovely in these soft shades of lavender and sky blue with gold veins running through it like an ore. And she just instantly is falling in love with it and takes off her baseball cap and slaps it on.
Um, it it fits like it has been made for you down to the centimeter. It is perfect. It hugs the right curves. It indents where your temple indents in. It if it was not made for you, it was made off a frighteningly perfect model of your head that somehow someone magically had. Like it fits. Um, Knox, what's your hat like?
Uh, do like crowns kind of count as hats?
They're
No.
hats.
Okay, hats. All right. It's
There's only one. Well, technically, there's two queens in Wonderland, but there's only one
oh,
queen
I
of.
didn't mean like a crown. I meant like a flower crown. But yeah,
No, it's a hat.
yeah. Okay. In that case, it's like a beige kind of straw hat with flowers all around the rim, like
Okay.
these beautiful, like kind of looking like marigolds flowers. And it's something that Talia would like never buy for herself because she's like, that costs money. I could use for something else. Um, and like she doesn't dress very fancy, but to her that's like, nah, this is like luxury.
Okay, so you got a big brim pale straw hat with some marigolds on it, and we've got ourselves a adventurous bright marble. Uh, Shears, why don't you tell us what Melanie's hat's like?
Melanie's hat is similar to a fascinator, but held up with a 9-inch hat pin. Think a combination of Mary Poppins hat set to the side with a black lace veil that she can like use it to cover her face.
All right, we're going straight Merry Widow with that. I love it. I love those hats. So, as you settle these hats on your head, the Hatter is looking deeply pleased. Like there is a very inhuman, satisfied cat look to his face. Like not necessarily malicious, because cats don't always look malicious, but you know how when a cat looks satisfied, you're just like, oh, what'd you kill? What little corpse is on my porch? Yeah, he looks like a cat who knows that you're about to open the door and step on a mouse. And his eyes kind of skate over all of you and he goes, "Yeah. All right, that'll do." He looks at Leland, he goes, he looks at Red, he goes, "Even you." All right, let's go. And he heads off to your cars. And who wants to take the Hatter and who wants to take the Hare?
I'll take either. Whoever wants to hop in. I'll take
I
the Hare.
will. I will take neither. of the.
I was gonna say,
Thank
can
you.
Talia switch to go with Rhett instead of Melanie?
Okay. So, Rhett, you have to take Talia. Talia has already lost her bike.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
can I get
Well,
that
that
back
makes
at some
sense.
point, please?
Oh
I liked that
no.
bike, and it wasn't my choice.
We will find that out together, won't we?
It's gonna be
Uh,
in the swamp of sadness
Oh,
somewhere at some point, and
I
you're not
swear
gonna
to
be able
God,
to.
I'll make you dig your bike out of the swamp of sadness. That'd be so funny. Uh, I have a real funny idea. Funny. So Talia jumps in with Rhett. Melody, the you take the Hatter, and Melanie the hare. This twitchy giant beast. You've got the furriest vehicle. You've got a big ass dog and a strung out bunny, and they're just sitting there looking at each other and looking at you, and looking at each other and looking at you. And the
Mark,
hare
would you
goes, "You
Mark,
can
would you
drive
like to
better than him, right?"
Yes, I know how to drive four wheels. Would you like to sit in the front if you don't feel comfortable?
And he goes, "No, it's easier to grab the wheel from back here."
Talk, would you like to sit in the front?
And Talk goes, "Yes." And immediate, yeah, sorry, everyone just pretend like I'm a giant cat's ass, I guess. I'm in. So,
Check it off your bingo cards.
yeah, check out your bingo cards. So, please just lay down. Everybody jumps in the car, and very quickly, the road falls away. You are moving at a ridiculous speed. Yeah, the neighbors gave you tuna. You smell. Go away. Um, you're moving at a ridiculous speed through the trees, but this time the road isn't trying to hide itself in such a way that makes it plain that maybe you guys aren't the only ones Milo is hiding with the road. In fact, he's you're discovering that he has to be working with more than just you because Rhett, you at least, no, everybody, you guys mapped out Rhett's trip backwards. You know, it was twists, it was turns, it was curls, it was ridiculousness. And this is a straight highway shot through tree sized mushrooms, through dense brush. You see the glaring dragonish eyes of something watching you from a very tulgey wood. Something is burbling out in the distance. Uh, One or two things might be trying to outgrade up under your tires. It's a mess, but you come out onto this enormous, crumbling edifice, this overrun stone fortress. The stone is a tired, sun baked red. The bricks are old. Some of them have been recently replaced, and most of them have been torn down under the weight of a thick, like sleeping beauty esque curtain of these thick, black, purple roses. Um, Even with those of you who can put your windows up, if your windows are up, you can't smell it quite as heavy, but anyone whose windows are just down because of the way your vehicle is built, you are catching a full gust of this to the face. It's spicy, it's thick, it's a little bit rotted. In fact, let me ask you, what pleasant top notes and disgusting undertones do you smell coming from these roses?
If you've ever lived on Long Island and you've been around during low tide, it is that very distinct smell that you can smell from the shore all the way up to the middle of the island, depending on how the wind goes, plus the pollution from the water. Middle notes would be driving past a defunct landfill at a certain time, followed by the silent but deadly farts of a dog.
Mm. All right, and now what's the someone else? What is the weirdly pleasant top notes on top of that? The really great smells that make you go and take a deep breath before you catch all that funk underneath.
um, Dracar Noir.
Jacquard Noir is a funk. Someone else answer this question. If you got a
Have to
fanny
be
pack and you wear Jacquard Noir, you have to be quiet for 3 minutes.
Okay.
does it have to be flower smell? The good
It
smell?
does not. It just has to be pleasant. It can't be bad. We've already named the bad
Freshly
smells.
baked bread.
Okay.
Like the smell like really fresh, like you just walked into a bakery and you're hit with all this freshness and like you can feel like when you like tap the bread and it gets all crunchy.
All right.
I'm gonna make
And
myself stim.
Melody, do you have one?
Ooh, fresh picked lavender and milkweed. Those
Okay.
really
So,
floral, really sweet, butterfly and bee attracting.
all right. So, you guys are fired. Make it five. No, I'm kidding. So, you guys whip up, and as you're closing in on these enormous gates, you see that there are gigantic, like city. What is the fucking word I want? Okay, you could not fit these gates under an overpass. There we go. They're big ass gates blocking the curtain wall. They are shaped like a heart. They are overly elaborate. Like there is ornate, and then there's tacky, and then there's this. Whoo. I mean, the good news is that you can't see at least 30% of the tacky underneath these black purple roses. They look like 7-hour old bruises, is the color. In the right light, it's black. Sometimes they're blue, sometimes they're purple, sometimes with a terrible bloody undertone to it. The stench some threatens to drown out the pleasant notes until you feel it digging in your brain, catching in your throat, coating your tongue. It's everywhere. No one can get away from it. It's inescapable. It's been driving the citizens mad. Um, there's It's a mess. The army has arrived, maybe far too early. There's not as many of them as there should be. There's bodies piled in front of the gates by the hundreds. You can't tell if they were trying to batter their way in or were crushed against by people trying to get out. There is, however, some good news, and like not good news, bad news like I did before. The good news is that there's probably enough of a space that you could get through. You might have to be a little rough with the remains, but you can get through. Or you can try to find a less disrespectful way than just trying to plow your way through at full speed. How do you want to go in?
I'm gonna apologetically look at the hatter who's in my car
Hmm.
and kind of like silently give a look asking for permission to proceed.
And the Hatter's he's not even looking out the window. He goes, they're just here to buy us time. Go.
Come punch it.
All right. Go ahead and roll your body for me and let's see how well this works.
I have a trait that lets me automatically succeed a body check, but I take a physical condition.
Boom. Let's do that. So, which physical condition are you taking?
I'll take afraid.
All right. Excellent. So, you can feel your heart kind of start to stutter. Your palms get clammy even as you press the pedal to the floor, and you look straight ahead of yourself as close to up as you can. You're looking at that spot where the windshield is blue instead of clear so that you do not have to see what's making your wheels go thump, 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 thump as you pick up speed and burst into these gates. The roses and the vines creak. They hold for a moment, almost as if they are trying to lock people into the city, not out of the city, before with a terrible, wet, ripping sound, more fleshy than planty. They give way, and the cars burst in, you in the lead, Melanie behind you, and hundreds of frantic, maddened, rose poisoned warriors, bait, really, tumble in behind you. There are decks of cards and a full array of chessmen waiting on the other side. They a couple of them try to throw themselves in front of you. They quickly learn that paper does not beat steel. But the rest of them fall onto the ranks behind you. They're cutting them down in the streets, but they do make a good distraction as all of you get away. So there's a big ass cat. I mean, you cannot miss the castle from here. It's a giant red castle. You're obviously heading towards it. What do you want to do?
What's the plan, my friend?
Hatter looks at you with a deeply straight face out the corner of his eye and goes, "The only plan is to make it in. The execution gardens are in the center of the palace. We can sneak in, we can drive in. It like you can't drive your cars in, but you know what I mean, like drive in.
Make an entrance.
Make an entrance. You can sneak in or you can charge in like you own the place. It doesn't matter so long as you make it to the execution garden. Um, so you can sneak your way in or fight your way in. It's up to you guys, but you have to make it there. So, what do you feel safe as doing?
I'm presently terrified, so I want to go the quietest route. I'm not feeling, let's go in, charge,
All
so
right.
much
Well,
after.
your car is the one in the front because you've got the Hatter with you.
Yep.
So he asks you what you want to do, and you tell him that you want to sneak in.
Yep.
All right. So he navigates you through back areas of the city, and as you drive, you see that there are things missing. Uh, there's just nothing. It's not nothing because nothing is something. It is the absence of nothing. There is absence of heat, of light, of color, of warmth, of cold. There is void where buildings used to be, where chunks of streets, where entire blocks and districts are missing. Uh, on the side of the road, you see half of a person bisected down the middle, and the half that remains is watching you because the void doesn't kill you. You're just not there. If half of you disappeared, you wouldn't do well. But half of you is a void, well, that's terrifyingly different. It watches laid out on the ground as you guys drive past, and the Hatter leads you around to a very small back cul de sac not too far from the palace. As everyone pulls up, he hops out and he waits for you all to circle up around him.
Molly will get out of the car, open the doors for Talk and March, and just quietly meet up with the Hatter and Melody.
I'll do the same for Talia. So park behind them.
Yeah, I think Talia's gonna reach for red sand if that's okay, because she's like, now that they were in the car riding, she got her friend back. She's like, now just getting to the overstimulated, like, this is all too much. I'm freaking out. I need like somebody that I trust to ground me. So I think she's just gonna be like, also to make sure he doesn't fucking leave again.
Oh yeah, no,
He'll
that's
just
fine.
be like, no, okay, nope, you are staying with me now because I need emotional support.
Okay.
You got it.
So the Hatter looks at all of you and he looks at the hair and he goes, "We're sneaking in." And the look he and the hair exchanges is a long one and it's a solemn one. The hair goes, "All right, it was good. It was good." And before any of you could say anything, he tears off as fast as he can around towards the front gate and begins to just make an absolute testicle of himself. He's throwing things, uh, and his aim is good. Like them alley apples are going zoop.
So-
He's knocking people off the wall. He is making a very loud bait of himself.
Let's
I
move.
thought I thought you said spectacle at first, but
I
yeah,
did
no,
not.
I
I totally said he
okay.
was making a testicle of himself.
That's perfect. Oh, okay. We're in this, so let's do our best not to get killed. Shall we just approach and start checking things out from our end, or
Hatter, do you know the way?
Uh, And so the Hatter does know the way. He quietly leads you guys through a series of back hallways. He takes you through a kitchen that smells entirely too much of pepper. Um, and you can see the grisly remains of a series of meals that, unfortunately, Talia, most certainly answer your question of they don't eat each other in Wonderland, do they? Maybe not normally. Maybe not when the void's not like this, but these ones do.
whew,
Um, there are there is a pile well over 2 decks worth of beheaded card soldiers just stacked in the hall at the base of the stairs. The queen is well enthralled of the void, and she no longer can tell friend from enemy. All she knows is that the void has promised her as many heads as she wants before it comes for her, and she absolutely intends to cash in on this. Uh, Everyone has been fleeing from her. The stench of roses and blood and rot is everywhere. It's in your hair, it's in your mouth. You cannot escape it as you creep through these halls towards a loudly jeering echo um, that's drawing you closer and closer towards the center of the building.
I'm gonna pull out a little bit of cologne, possibly that I keep in my pocket. Dracar Noir, of course, and I'm gonna put a little bit under under my nose, into my mustache.
This is not the time. This is not the
It
time.
smells like rotten corpses in here. I'm trying to keep my head straight, and I can't keep it straight if I'm about to vomit.
Oh God.
So the you would think you would think that the cologne trick would help. It doesn't. It is a sharp additive to the scent. Nothing really cuts through this kind of old, lingering, left to sit death.
I've gone and made it worse.
You have gone and made it worse, yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Um, So, how loud were you in your distress as you realized that you've gone and made it worse?
I imagine he's just kind of a buffoon and would be a little too loud.
Oh, great.
Maybe not.
Thanks, Rhett.
Thanks.
Okay, do me. Let's do this. Let's do this. I will let you roll your heart. Go ahead and roll your heart,
Ooh, I'm good at that one.
and let's see if you get
Oh,
busted.
where's my okay? If it was a loud sigh or if it was just him straight up yelling, we'll see. Let me add a couple of dice here. Boop, boop. Okay, and I'm gonna shake my phone. Ooh, a 3, a 5, and a 6.
All right. So excellent. Um, you start to yell. It
Yeah.
damn near rips its way out of you because oh, what a stench you have just inflicted on yourself. But at the last possible moment, you
Hmm.
remember that there's a reason you're walking through hallways littered with corpses, and that you probably should not be hollering with your juicy, still attached head.
Yes, that's very true.
That is very true. You choke it back,
No, sorry, sorry, sorry about that.
and the Hatter gives you the dirtiest, my friend did not die outside so that you could get us caught 30 feet away from business look. But he keeps going. Um, and you realize that he has led you to kind of an overhang. There is an enormous sculpted garden. It is designed so that the land spills out over a small cliff face like an infinity pool. You can see all of the city or what remains of it, what hasn't been devoured by these void roses. Behind this enormous, rusty, exceedingly well used guillotine. Um, it is at this point they have stopped dragging the heads away. There's no point. The heads are almost as tall as the base of the plinth. They have spilled forward. Some of them are still blinking. Some of them are barely more than skeletons. And on her knees, in front of all of you, held up by her still attached hair, on her still attached neck, on her still breathing body, there is a young woman. She's not too old, but she's not too young. She's maybe she'd still get carded to drink, but the ID she's using is probably real. And the queen's two long fingers with I mean they only have like two extra joints each. It's not at all creepy. Are tangled in this
What?
girl's hair as she holds her into a back bended pull upright, and she's looking at you, and she looks at the girl, and she looks at all of you. She can see you even if everyone else is still looking, and she goes, "You didn't really think you'd save Alice, did you?"
Melanie is going to use. Hold on. She has a specialty in bluffing and lying. And she's going to use the queen's ego against her, bearing in mind that Melanie has had to deal with publishing houses and HBO. She's
Okay.
going to walk forward with her shillelagh as a cane, hold on to the emerald pendant, take a deep breath, and with the veil still in front of her face, I have been writing for 15 years. If there is one thing that I know, nothing is ever simple. I give you credit for that. Clever woman like yourself. making this very difficult for us. Don't you think?
And the queen looks at you. She's deeply interested in whatever you're playing with around your neck. Um, sure, her eyes are really on that as she kind of strokes her hand down the curve of Alice's cheek with the other. And she's like, well, if there was a plan, it would be a good one. But you should also consider that maybe the only plan is for everything to end. And she makes a small, quick kick. And when she kicks, she hits something below her feet, and the guillotine unfolds like a flower. It opens itself, and she throws the girl forward, and it locks around her.
At that, shillelagh away.
You are up here on a second floor balcony in the palace, and she's down here in the center of the execution garden. So you want to throw the shillelagh at the queen.
Shillelagh away.
All right, go ahead and roll your body.
Okay.
I want to do power of belief, and I'm like, and to provide an extra 2 dice on the roll. I'm gonna say, now take a moment to line up that shot carefully so you hit her right in her face.
It's a very like just pretentious encouragement.
Yep.
To the Brit, I say, Erin go bra. And I swing. You said 2 more dice?
Yeah, I just have to mark spirit, and you get 2 extra dice. Because I believe in you.
Well, that helped because I have a 5, a 5, and a 1.
Shit.
So
All
I
right.
gave you 2 out of 3 of your dice. Essentially, is what you're trying to tell me is that you were gonna throw that with one. Okay, never mind. Continue.
Love it.
Gambling. Yeah.
So
Look at the Irish.
Yep.
the shillelagh whips through the air. It is heavy. It's got mass behind it. It's got human rage behind it. It's got the power of belief, which honestly adds momentum to the thing. This is a fairyland. That's just how shit happens here. It is going faster than it could have gone had Rhett not given you his super helpful mansplanation of how to throw a shillelagh. It
Yeah.
actually, don't
I
ever,
am just
ever,
gonna
ever tell
mansplain
any
from
other
now on with
dude
this
in
ability.
humanity that it worked for Rhett in the fantasy realm. The one time it worked for Rhett in the fantasy realm, don't tell nobody.
The one-time mansplaining.
I think that's just how I'm gonna change this ability to be the power of mansplaining, and that's just
Yeah,
gonna
and
be
telling
what
an
it's.
Irish
I'm gonna
woman.
fire you.
No, a Brit telling an Irish woman what to do.
We're
Just
so
how
happy.
to do it. Okay.
That said, while his belief has totally added extra oomph to it, he is a Brit telling Irish how to throw a shillelagh, and neither one of you quite. You had the lineup, he had the strength. None of you quite took into account that this is a magical realm, and she's a queen in her own country. She don't want to be hit. It does hit her, but it just kind of reels her back. It stuns her, and as she staggers backwards, she screams off with her head, scrambling towards the ropes, grabs the rope as she falls off the platform, and the blade falls. The Hatter screams. It echoes. The crowd cheers wildly, and Alice's head, the end of her curls, dyed in her blood, rolls down this mountain and lands at the crumpled queen's feet as she just laughs and laughs from inside her pile where she's kind of stuck.
You killed Alice. Good job. I'm just kidding. That was out of character. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Question for
Jesus
the GM.
Christ.
Yes.
No, put that in character. Question for the GM. Does that trigger any memories for Melanie?
um, it does. You briefly are reminded of the last time you knew you knew that you were doing the right thing. You knew that this was the only way to save someone. You knew you had to do this. It was it wasn't supposed to end like this then either.
My character's gonna yell at the queen real quick and just say, "What the hell are you doing? Do you understand that if all of this everything that is around you, including yourself, gets destroyed, you will not be able to reign over anything. Your power that you gain from working with the void will mean zilch, nothing. Do you understand that?"
Uh, the smell of those black bruised roses is becoming overwhelming. They're starting to writhe on the guillotine. They're filling the air. You can see them. You can see how fast they're growing as they begin to climb the walls of the castle and fall in around you. They are reaching for you with their Icarus vines and their curved thorns. As the queen laughs and laughs and laughs and tells you that the nothingness is the point. And she
Completely shaking.
continues to
Go ahead.
laugh, arms out, as the roses engulf her.
So she's gone?
Well, she's definitely under some roses right now.
Hatter, what now?
So, Hatter is not really listening to you guys. He threw himself over the edge of the balcony. He landed roughly. Um, he hobbled through the crowd, fought his way there. There is a swath of blood and downed card guards, and he's just kneeling on the ground. He's holding Alice's head. Um, he is not paying attention to anything. He's not paying attention to the queen slowly being engulfed, vanishing under these roses. He's not paying attention to the spray of blood creeping out of those vines where the queen has disappeared. He's not paying attention to the screaming people who are all realizing that there is no exit from this garden. The roses are filling in from every direction, reaching for every warm body they can. Hatter doesn't care. He doesn't hear you. That said, those roses sound kind of dangerous. What the fuck is y'all doing? Because they will eat you.
Oh
Yeah, I'm
boy.
gonna get away from those. Yeah, yeah, that'd be good.
We can't just leave everybody there, though.
Eh.
All right. So, Talia, as you say that you cannot just leave everybody there, as the rest of your party stands in shock or confusion at the death of Queen Alice the 23rd, the person you just knew you had to save because Wonderland needs an anchor. Someone has to be Wonderland. Someone has to be Alice. There isn't a Wonderland without Alice. And you know that. And just there's the same part of you that was not afraid to tell a dapper little moth when he was both a dapper little moth and a creepy little moth man to get his fucking hands off you. The part of you that has checked in with the wildkin even when you were afraid. The part of you that has felt Wonderland. Wonderland has felt you back. It's reached for that part. You feel your hat begin to rise. it becomes heavier, smaller, and tighter. It twists itself into a elegant tiara set with roses of like metals you've never seen and metals you have. Um, Blood red rubies and deep garnets, little emerald leaves. It's a work of art sitting on your head. In your hand, your knitting needles are not knitting needles. You are holding, okay, well, maybe it's a little knitting needly at the end. And maybe the hilt of it looks like it may have a little, like it might be yarn wrapped. But that is not a knitting needle so much as it is a vorpal sword. And you find yourself wearing the crown of Wonderland, holding the vorpal sword, your compassion, your loyalty, this moment where you could have taken your friends and run, and you asked, "What about the denizens of Wonderland?" has thrust you into position as the new anchor. You are the new Alice. Ah, the roses begin to crush in on all of you. And as they do, Talia, can you please tell us about the denizen who appears out of nowhere and grabs the new Queen Alice and leads your entire party to safety?
Okay, so there's just this tall tree, um, and she has like green needles for hair, and is like pine, like cone, the little like wooden parts of the pine cones around her, and she just steps forward and grabs everybody.
Okay. So, from the garden, what appeared to be a tree turns around, moves. It is one of the woodkin, one of the largest denizen folks of the fantastical realms. And she sweeps you all up, even as the tide of roses is engulfing everything it can. She gathers you up against her trunk, bends her piney leaves down around you, forms a shield, and she rushes as many of you to safety as she can. The Hatter will not come. He fights her off, and she cannot risk any of you. Not for him. Not this time. But the rest of you, she manages to get you safely, not just out of the castle, but she runs with the untiringness of a tree, the steadiness of oak that will not fall, of the pines that do not burn, out of the city as it crumples in on itself. She puts you on your feet. She puts the rest of you down, maybe not as gently and respectfully, but everybody gets put down gently, and she folds herself down on her knees and says, "We welcome Queen Alice." The few survivors that followed you out of the city all begin to cheer, hip hip hooray. But Talia, you know what this means. The anchor cannot leave Wonderland. Your journey with your friends has ended. You have to stay here or Wonderland will crumble. You are all that's keeping it real and keeping the void contained like a looming, menacing black hole in the pits of what remains of the Queen City. Everywhere that's untouched until now will remain untouched as long as you stay in Wonderland long enough for your friends to beat back the void everywhere else. Are you willing to do that?
Talia is just looking around, and she's going, "This isn't what I wanted. I don't want them to die, but this isn't this isn't what I wanted.
Can I stay with you? Is that
I
possible?
don't
So you're not alone here? Or?
I don't want to be here. I don't want this. I don't want anything bad to happen, but I'm not a queen, and I'm not meant to be alone. I've been alone too long. I don't want to be alone forever.
Melanie goes over to Talia, still very shaken and very traumatized with the new memories coming back. I want you to listen to me. You have a lot of good in you. And he looks at the denizens and then back at Talia. You have never been alone. You've had a lot of wonderful people, and you have a lot of wonderful people here who are going to look after you, who are going to make sure that you are never alone. And she takes off the onyx ring that ran in her family since as far back as the 1800s, hands it over to Talia. I don't want to leave you here. But you succeeded where I failed. I want you to have this. The story I had for this was it kept people who were lost safe. It kept people who are in positions like us well guarded. It keeps people like us warm, safe. Do or don't. It's your decision, but I want you to have this. Okay?
Don't leave him. He's a lot. God, I know he's a lot. But
Going
don't
to
leave
burn.
him.
I won't. I will burn that fanny pack, but I won't leave him.
You will
Burn the
not
fanny pack.
touch. Anyway.
Burn the fucking fanny pack. Oh God, I can't cuss anymore. I'm a queen.
Queens can cuss. I'm sure queens can cuss.
Ugh.
You make the rules now. Everyone can cuss.
He takes the fanny pack off and throws it into the void, the nearest void.
Please don't feed the void.
Just gave it a little bit of fanny pack. It's no big deal. If anything, that'll do damage to it.
Yeah, we hear a slight gagging sound from the void.
And then we
Back
win.
out.
Like it chokes on the fanny pack.
But Talia, and she takes her hands, puts the ring in hers. Keep this safe. If ever something happens, just hold on to the ring. Wear it. What's around my neck was not my choice. This can be yours. Let that give you warmth. Let that give you strength. Help them. Do what I can't. She backs away towards Talk and tries not to cry.
Do we have time for Talia and Rhett to say bye?
Yes.
Okay. Leyland, you're muted.
Well, when you come over to him, he's not like crying or anything, because he's like holding those back, he doesn't want to not seem cool or whatever. But he's like, well, I'm as I said earlier, I could probably stay here. There's nothing really for me back home anyway. except for my parents' hatred and my dying mother and debt. So I could just stay here with you, right? Is that? I mean, you're the queen. You can give me permission to do that, correct?
I want to.
Well, then
Brett,
do
I
it.
don't think any of them are gonna live. I don't think we're gonna save any of the anchors. I think you're gonna need to beat one.
All right.
How about this? If somehow you make it through and you don't end up needing to be an anchor, we'll ask if Milo can send you back
Okay.
and you can
Perfect.
stay with me.
Excellent. Um.
And if
Yeah.
not, maybe long distance friends and
Yes. I mean,
pals.
anything's possible, right? I mean,
It's
that
fucking
rabbit's
magic, bro.
yeah, that rabbit's the same height as me. That's that we
Exactly.
saw earlier. That was pretty
There's
amazing.
got
So,
to be a way to be pen pals between realms. I know
uh,
we can't visit any.
well, we might be able to. Let's just not say otherwise. But here, how about this? No farewells and just you know, just see you later. See you later, friend. Maybe.
Can I have a hug?
Well, of course. And he's gonna lean forward, give her a hug, and just um, give her like an affectionate kiss on the top of the head, and because he's like
Talia's
6'4",
sobbing.
and he
She's not
starts
doing
crying.
hot.
He starts crying eventually once the hug engages.
What about my cats? Do you think they can bring my cats here with magic?
Yes, yes, anything's possible. Like we said,
Okay.
anything's possible.
So you're gonna be safe and you're gonna come back and you're gonna
Thanks.
save the other anchors.
Yes, I'll do my best. And I'm not sure if Never mind. Never mind. No time for pessimism here. Just thank you for being my only friend in college, okay? Because
Thank you for
no one
being my
else.
best friend.
And he hugs your character like extra tight, and
Yeah.
just is gonna hang on until he's forcibly told that he has to let go.
So she's like, this is fine. Nope, nope, nope. If you don't leave, then I don't have to do this.
So, as
Nobody
the
else wants to
two
be the anchor. Nobody else.
nobody
Melody,
else
there's gotta be
can.
rocks.
Ooh. So, as the two of you are kind of clinging to each other, a very large woody hand kind of rests itself on your shoulder, Rhett. It's not judging, it's very sympathetic. It's very friendly. Um, Trying to, if you've ever had somebody rubbing your back with a back scratcher because you were being sick and they're all like there but they're not going to touch you because you're gross, so they're like petting you with a back scratcher or a broom or something. It feels like that but very gentle, and it is the tree shaped denizen. She's looking down at the two of you going, if we save the realms, then Milo can reattach the roads. You'll be able to see each other again because we all survived this. Um, and as she smiles, the road shimmers behind you. Milo's toll booth appears out of nowhere like a mirage. And Milo leans out of it and he's dangling your keychain, Talia. With your bike, he points at the denizen, this tall tree person, and gestures them over and hands them your keys and says, "That's your anchor. You're her champion. You have to go forward for her and protect her friends so that she can protect your world."
Well, that's what I'll do then. That's what we'll do.
And on that note, with everyone having said goodbye to Talia, our surprise, what a twist! What a twist! Who knew Talia was staying in Wonderland?
I sure
Nobody,
as hell
not
did it.
even me. Because that's the thing. I'm not going to know who stays until I see how you act. The
I sure
place
as hell did not
chooses the
expect that. I was
person
like,
as much as the person chooses the place. You and Wonderland chose each other, Shug. Woo! So, I have been Arnica, and this has been your three-part introduction to Wish We Weren't Here, our terrible, horrible, no good, very bad road trip to save reality. As you can see, shit will be serious when we return in January.
Maybe
We're
we'll reattach Alice's head, right? That's our plan.
I
He's
got the
got the
Gorilla
sewing
Glue and
some
kit.
duct
super
tape.
glue.
Yeah.
You got
Exactly.
knitting needles?
Yeah, just
Exactly.
I got a sewing machine.
I've
Let's
got
do
the
this.
power of belief.
They do. They've got all this. They are so ready to roll. We cannot wait to come back and see you. But until then, let's go ahead and let people know who you are and where they can find you online. Let's go ahead and start with Shears.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shears. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me on Twitch as Bloodthread Shears, all one word. You can also find me on co-host and Tumblr. Yes, I went back to Tumblr as Bloodthread Shears. I have no shame. I know where I got my shoelaces. You can also find all of my other links in the link tree that is in the chat right now. I'm a freelance photographer, dancer, medical biller by day, and I do all the things. And currently, I am going to be doing some more sewing with a giant hoodie blanket that is Sailor Moon themed.
Ooh, yes. All right. Let's go ahead and say goodbye for 2022 to Leland.
Uh, Hi everybody. That was awesome and scary as it was the first time. I hate that I missed last week, but it sounds like it kind of worked out story wise. I don't know. Like for me, the way I came in and stuff was really unique. Wouldn't have happened if I'd been here. I don't think. But yeah, super fun. I am Leland slash Leopold the Just. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet at Leopold the Just. And if you're not doing anything this Saturday, come over to twitch.tv/weave the tale at 8 p.m. Eastern for my for the next episode of my Urban Shadows show. If you are curious about it, you can look up the hashtag somehow human. We have an amazing cast over there, and they are currently uh, in the swamps of like a fictional New Orleans, fighting demons and looking for a huge mutated cryptid. So some interesting stuff going on in that game. So yeah, definitely come join us at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I'm also offering pro GM services now. So if you're looking to book a game or check out what games I have scheduled up, go to startplaying.games/GM/Leopold the Just and find out what I'm up to over there doing that now in this new venture. But yeah, I had a great time. Thank you so much.
So welcome. I just want everyone to know real quick if you saw me making a whole bunch of faces, it's because a whole ass daddy long legs ran at me and I didn't scream in none of y'all's ears. None of y'all. I'm the real hero
That
tonight.
thing won't
Let's.
hurt you.
Ah, you've you've
Tell
never
that to
seen
my
how I
sensory
hurt
issues.
myself. I hurt myself getting away from it. That's the real danger. While everyone laughs at me and the time I sprained my wrist trying to run through a metal door to get away from a Grande Longlegs, let's say goodbye to Rosie for the rest of the year.
I'm Rosie, SweetRosieBee. Most places I have joined Tumblr for the first time as the SweetRosieBee. So we'll see what that mess is like. Already enjoying some of the weirdness there. I am a TTRPG crafting and charity streamer. We just had a very fun 15-hour quiltathon for Extra Life. It was awesome. You can see it over there. If you are going to PAX U, I will be running the One Ring with Free League. I'll be running 3 sessions of that, so if you are so interested, go check it out. Play with me. I would love to have you at my table. Other than that, my streams restart this week, Tuesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. So lots going on, lots of fun stuff. Very excited. Cannot wait to pick this back up in January. I can't believe that Knox was Alice. That was such a twist. I love it so much.
Let's
And I
tweet.
totally wasn't crying. No one saw me crying.
No, it's definitely not on VOD, and they're about to be on YouTube.
Oh no.
I
Yes.
will clip
You're
it and
lucky I
zoom
don't
in
know how
and
to
make a
make
gif out of
clips.
it.
The
I
only
Oh
do.
my
reason there are no
gosh.
clips,
I know how to
Rosie,
make
is because I
gifs
don't know how
too.
to make clips.
Yeah.
Oh, good. You should make lots of those. But before we do that, let everybody, big round of applause, please. Trumpets at a 21 gun salute for Queen Alice. Let's say goodbye to Knox.
Hey everyone, my name is Nox. You can find me on social media as Noxternal7, and I was Talia Ramirez, the new Queen Alice. Uh, I'm an emotional like, what the fuck just happened right now? I was not expecting that. You can find me this Wednesday on a one shot over at the Initiative Orders Twitch, where I'm going to be playing Fortuna the Twi'lek in one shot of Star Wars Nightfall. And that's on the Initiative Order Twitch at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. No, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And everyone in chat's like doing Queen stuff, and it's great. And other than that, I'll be back in well, this will be back in January. If you want me in your stuff, that would be great. I like being in streams, so if you want, hit me up. But yeah, I can't believe that just happened. I'm gonna miss Rat. I'm
Oh,
gonna
hush.
miss
You have a
Talia and
whole.
Rat.
I know. And finally, thank you so much, everyone. It's been great having you here these last 3 weeks. We cannot wait to see you when we return in January at the same slot, same day, same time, Mondays from 7:30 to 10:30. I've been your game master, Arnikax Ross. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at that address. Yeah, I'm still on Twitter. I'm not going anywhere. It's going to crumble around me, and that's fine. When it crumbles around me, I'll go ahead and finish onboarding
Just like
Mastodon
Wonderland.
via Mushroom. I feel like Fred Flintstone ordering a meal every time I say that. But regardless, it's been wonderful to see you. I really appreciate that everyone was here. You can catch me on Fridays as I finish up the last 3 episodes of my Avatar game, Avatar Reign of Smoke and Ashes, on twitch.tv/Valorant. And we're going to go ahead and head out. I don't even know who we're rating tonight. I'm tired. I know that someone has told me. I can't remember. I'm sure we're rating someone, and it will be a sexy, sexy surprise. Uh, yeah. So let's see who it is. Let's party with them. Say goodnight, everybody.
Bye everyone.
Night, y'all. Have a great evening.